Welcome back, hunters, to another episode of Helix's Wild Hunts. Today is going to be a bit different from other videos. I've had several viewers asking in the past episodes for this, and since the English patch is not currently working, sorry Team HD, I know it's not your fault. I thought now would be a good time to start up this beginner tutorial series. First, I'm sure some of you haven't installed the game yet, or may have questions on how to do so. My friend from her channel Daily Quest Grind has an excellent step-by-step video tutorial as shown here. If you're installing for the first time, watch this first, then hop right back here to get started in the game. Alright, now that we have that out of the way, let's get back to the tutorial. Everybody, say hello to Gunther 101, a fledgling hunter straight from the Y-Academy. Now Gunther is brand new to the hunting world, and has only studied for a few years, but has never had true experience in the field before. So today, I'll be helping everyone, including Gunther, through some basic important tips when starting in Monster Hunter Online. Also, perhaps this might be even helpful for people starting the Monster Hunter series as a whole. I know some of you may be starting your hunting journey in this game for the first time, so veterans that also may be watching this, hopefully it can be a good refresher or insight into how similar mechanics work inside this specific game. Firstly, Monster Hunter is a series where you hunt giant monsters. I know, Gunther. Not shocking, since it's right in the title. I'm just talking to the viewers, you silly kutku. In Monster Hunter, you will be traveling around various parts of the world slaying giant ferocious beasts that threaten your humble villages and ports. And from hunting these monsters, you will in turn be able to forge better and stronger weapons and equipment for challenging the tougher creatures that prowl the world. Now, the best part of hunting is the variety of weapons at your disposal. You can pick and try any weapon that fits your playstyle. Weapons are split into two categories, Blade Master and Gunner style. I'll go into this a bit more in a different tutorial episode, but the important thing to take from this is, you have options. Now this tutorial will be based off my experience using a PlayStation controller, so keyboard and mouse users, I know you guys are probably watching, but in my humble opinion, playing on a controller enhances the experience and makes for an easier time while playing. I still mix and match the two though for certain parts of this game, as you will be seeing later, but for now, anything involving the control mechanics, I'll be referring to the controller inputs. Monster Hunter Online does a decent job at running you through the basics. And I know the Mandarin may look intimidating, but let me assure you, it's not, and it's very easy to enjoy the game without speaking the language. This is coming from someone who doesn't speak a single word of Mandarin and is currently HR 20, hunting monsters like Feline. You can progress in the game without issues. Whenever you load up the game, even if you have your controller connected, you will need to activate it. The game will give you a pop-up saying it has detected an Xbox 360 controller. Click the button and it will open up the controller menu. I like using this setup here in the middle. Once you click on this tab, make sure you go over to the blue button and press it. This will shift control over to your gamepad. After this, just press escape on your keyboard and you are ready to start moving your avatar. I haven't messed with customizing inputs and have found if I try and press any buttons to exit out of this menu from the controller, usually causes issues or inputs to shift around. This is why I suggest just pressing escape on your keyboard. Now, before I continue, since this is a PC title, I'm sure many of you will want to know how to go about changing the settings to better customize your graphical options. Here's a handy translated screenshot of the menu options. I found this by searching for Monster Hunter Online English in Google. I'll add the link in the description since it's not necessarily an easy link to read out loud or for viewers to write down. Now, if you are using an NVIDIA graphics card and have access to the NVIDIA Experience program, you'll be able to customize and optimize your game here in English. This is, in my opinion, the easiest way to do this, as you can see here. Now, my computer is a beefy Zenogre, so I'm able to run this on the max settings without issues. I'd recommend going with whatever the program suggests for you in terms of the best settings possible to run the game. Alright, so Gunther is now in the tutorial quest. Here, the controls are very basic. You use the left analog stick for moving, right analog for camera control. Holding R1 while running also allows you to sprint. Right now, the game UI doesn't include some important details yet, so we will go over those once we get further in the tutorial. Oh look, our first prey, a hapless little boar. Now that you have movement down, run up to it and press the triangle button to start attacking. Triangle and circle will be your two primary means of attack and forming combos. Since all weapons are different, my best advice will be to try each weapon out and see what the input combinations do. Also, another easy way to see what kind of attacks your weapon has is by going into the H menu and clicking this tab up here. There, you will find every weapon available in the game and what the weapons do with a handy little video to demonstrate. Very handy for those of you just starting out for the first time. Now that you've killed the boar, sheathe your weapon by pressing square. You move quicker without your weapon out, so it's always important that when fighting larger monsters to make it a habit of sheathing in between openings. While your weapon is sheathed, you can also access your quick inventory items below by using the D-pad on your controller and pressing the square button. Some of these have animations, so be aware that during the hunt, you will need to find good openings before using them. You can also manage your quick bar by opening up your inventory with the I button on the keyboard, then clicking and dragging your desired consumable item down to the bar. You also have access to a few customizable quick select bars by pressing up or down on the D-pad. Use these to your advantage. Uh-oh, Gunther. Looks like you've encountered a wild caser bear. This may be a bit more difficult, but with my help, I'm sure you'll do just fine. Now, while Gunther is busy fighting, I'll give you some more information about weapons, attacks, defending, and evading. As a hunter, you also have means to evade incoming attacks by rolling and hopping in different directions. When your weapon is sheathed, you will perform a dodge roll by aiming in a specific direction and pushing the X button. If you are holding R1 and running, pressing X will cause you to do an evade dive. This will give you a bit of invincibility if you happen to time the dive at just the right moment. When you have a weapon out, pressing the X button in a specific direction will cause your character to do short hops, handy for closing in gaps or evading attacks where you know a simple hop would just work. Get used to these. A hunter's best offense is sometimes his defense. Now, speaking of defense, some weapons come with shielding properties such as sword and shield, as you see here. Other weapons that allow you to block are the greatsword, lance, gun lance, and I believe the bow gun. This last one may be inaccurate. I've never used the bow gun in this game since I've personally never used it much in a past Monster Hunter title, so if that's incorrect, I'm not sure if that weapon does in fact have a shielding property. Let me know in the comments below. To raise your shield up, all you have to do is press and hold the R1 button with the weapon unsheathed. Your movement is severely limited while your shield is up, however, it can block full-on attacks that you otherwise may not be able to dodge. You can also check out my earlier videos as I go into each weapon a bit more in depth. Now, unless you all would prefer specific weapon highlights in future videos, please let me know in the comments. Good job, Gunther, you managed to repel the caser bear. I'm sure the village is already sleeping more soundly knowing you're on the job. Welcome to the starting hub of Millard. This is your home, and every hunt you do makes this little village in the mountains feel a bit safer. There are many important NPCs located in the first few zones you have access to. In a later video, I will introduce you to other important characters and areas as you unlock them on your journey. The first important difference from other Monster Hunter titles is that in order to progress and unlock new monsters to fight, you will need to complete quests throughout the village highlighted by the red exclamation marks. Since I don't read Mandarin, I don't know much about the storyline, but let's be serious, the main reason you're here is to slay giant baddies and make awesome loot. It's easy enough to navigate. Anytime you have a quest active, follow the arrow underneath your character or by looking on the little map on the right side to see which NPC you need to talk to next to progress. You will receive experience and zenny for completing the quests. Here is the meat and veggies of Monster Hunter. Once you have the gate mission active, you will be able to progress by hunting progressively tougher monsters, or by completing quests where you have to hunt smaller creatures, or harvest specific items throughout certain points of the map. Here is your first true hunt, taking on a bulldrome. Once you click on the quest, press this button on the bottom right side to start the hunt. Remember your training, Gunther. Don't be afraid to sheathe or guard and wait for openings, you silly shakalaka. Now that we are in the quest, I want to bring your attention to two very important bars at the top. The green bar is your health, and if it drops to 0, you will faint and be taken back to camp. Unlike other titles, however, 3 carts does not mean you failed the hunt. You have access to certain items that allow you to keep on fighting in this game. We will touch on those in future episodes. For now, always monitor this bar when you are taking hits. If your health is dropping or you want to feel safer, use one of the green potions to replenish your health. Your second most important bar is your stamina. As you can see, doing a variety of actions will cause this to deplete. If you run out, your character will be winded, leaving yourself open to attack. Always try and keep an eye on this. Simply letting go of the sprint button R1 will help bring it back up. Blocking attacks also lowers your stamina, along with charging certain attacks like the hammer's ground slam or the bow's special charge shots. An aware hunter isn't a live hunter. Once you defeat the monster, it's time to carve the spoils. Sheathe your weapon and press and hold the circle button. In a recent update, you can just stand over a monster and hold the button down to consecutively keep on carving or even harvest points on the map. It's super handy, and I love how they borrowed this from Monster Hunter Generations. Also, take the time before the hunt ends to gather any harvest points around your zone, since you can use these for other important aspects such as crafting, combining, and much more. Each part of the map that you're hunting on will have important points such as bug points for your nets, rock formations for your pickaxes to mine, fishing ponds to use your lures, and grass nodes, mushroom nodes, bone piles, dung piles, and beehive nests to harvest respective items. Everything is important. Great hunt, Gunther! You are now one step closer to taking on your first Elder Dragon. Now, before I end this first tutorial, I wanted to show you some very important NPCs around the village. One of the most important to visit after every hunt is the Inventory Manager. Here is where you maintain your items nice and tidy when you start running out of carryable space. There are two important tabs here. One is for gathering items and consumables such as herbs, potions, mushrooms, honey, etc. Your gear will also show up here when you create new armor, weapons, and jewelry. In Monster Hunter Online, there is limited space, so be aware of the number below. It is possible to expand, and progressing through the questline, you will unlock the items required to expand the inventory. The secondary tab is for all your monster parts and carves. Once again, space is not unlimited, so eventually you will need to decide which parts you want to keep and which to sell. Also note, there is a handy auto-sort button right here. If you want everything to categorize itself in a nice neat package, pressing this is the trick to do so. Here is the Feline Chef. Eventually you'll be able to dine here. Like other Monster Hunter games, you will be able to boost different stats of your character prior to a hunt. Very handy for making you as effective as possible when hunting. Don't worry about this NPC for now. In all village zones, you will find NPCs that sell general items like potions, hot and cold drinks, whetstones, etc. You can also use these NPCs for managing your inventory box items and sell them overflow just by clicking up here and then right-clicking on any item you would like sold. Remember, it's also possible to buy back in case you made a mistake. Click here to see the items you have sold in your current active game. I believe once you shut the game off, if you've changed your mind to try to buy back anything, it's pretty much too late at that point. Now, the other portion of the starting zone in Millard Village has plenty of other important NPCs. The lady with the mask sells special items through Zenian farm dung. You will get this as an item as you progress and complete bounties. They are very specific items, and I don't have all the translations, so for now, I would say she's not too important. We'll have to revisit in a future episode. Next is the Blacksmith. Here you will be able to craft armor, weapons, and even later on, upgrade them through different means as you progress. Also note that his role does change in terms of what the options available do once you reach the city hub. I'll talk about this more in a future tutorial. For now, come here to craft new gear to hunt stronger foes. The top option allows you to purchase already crafted equipment, though I don't recommend doing it that way. The second option is the crafting window. Clicking the first tab allows you to see all the craftable weapons. So sword and shield, longsword, greatsword, dual blades, bow, light bowgun, hammer, hunting horn, gun lance, and lastly, lance. Next tab is for armor. It's pretty self-explanatory when you go through the tabs. You'll see the head, body, gloves, waist, and boots. If you're looking to craft any of these items, check out the recipe requirements. You will see them right when you click on the craftable piece. Again, this is going back to the fact that you need to keep on harvesting nodes whenever you can during hunts. Next to the Blacksmith is the Catsmith. When you unlock the option to hire a feline companion, here you will be able to craft their equipment. Down further in the village is the Guildmaster NPC that allows you to create your own hunting guild. I've never played with these options and have only joined up with an active guild already on my current server. Around the corner is the Recipe Lady, who allows you to purchase learnable crafting books to combine items and make new ones. And lastly for this episode is the Feline Hire. The Feline Hire NPC. Once you get further into the game, you can come here to hire your very own feline companion. Woo! I know it may seem like a lot, but once you progress, these NPCs will become second nature visiting. There are other important NPCs that will appear as you move past the story missions, and we will be touching on those further on. Hope this first part to the tutorial helps get any new hunter on their feet and ready to slay monsters. If you have any suggestions to anything specific you would like me to discuss on the next tutorial, or any other tutorials in general, please let me know in the comments below. Also, remember to like and subscribe if you would like to see more from Monster Hunter Online. I wish you all happy hunting, and I'll see you all on the next level!